Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream.
And welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I'm Todd.
And we're fucking sharing a mic today. Hooray! So if it sounds a little squirrely, or if you hear Todd and I fighting, or like hand slapping, is because we're fighting for the fucking mic. Which is fine, because we have the Evan Stock Band with us today.
Ow!
That was Todd. We have Chris, Evan, and Marlan. I fucking love the name Marlan. Dude, it's cool. I love it. Okay, so we were going to talk maybe some current events. Do you want to do a little current event thing? Because Evan said that he wouldn't mind. He's got a couple maybe things.
Yeah.
He has opinions.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. What's going on in Evan's world? What would you like to talk about? What's kind of been tweaking your nuggets?
Pissing you off about anything?
Well, I don't know if it's as much that or as much as my interests have been piqued through a few happenings, goings on in the world we live in. I don't know if you guys heard about things like that lady that was found in her car after 6 years of dying.
What?
Oh, it was in her garage, yeah.
What? She was dead for 6 years.
And her auto payments through her bank are what kept everybody thinking she was still there. She was a traveler. All of her neighbors did all of her lawn care for her and stuff.
God.
Did all this stuff. They even had a couple welfare checks for the police, but they didn't look in the garage.
Holy shit.
She was like mummified and all this crazy.
So she had a lot of really close relatives.
I guess not.
A lot of friends.
People that loved her, took care of her.
Or I don't know who they thought she was working for, because they probably didn't.
Wow.
That's really
I didn't hear a
sad.
thing about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Florida or something, but yeah, that's going on. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's sick.
It is kind of gross.
Yeah, it's
The smell. How would you like to find that shit?
yeah, that would be weird. They said it. I mean, your internal organs decompose, but you got leather. Your skin it stays intact. I don't know. It's weird.
You're just like a big bag of guts after that. Just decompose.
You just dry up and be a husk, right?
Let's say you're buying a house.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, this is a cool house. Why is it going so cheaply? Well, there's a ghost of a lady.
There's a gut bag.
In the garage, though. It's just the garage.
She's still there.
Yeah.
You might not want to park your car in the garage.
Be a great Halloween gag. Great Halloween gag.
Oh, yeah. Every year.
The mummy in the garage.
Every year, yeah.
This is me, though.
It's so fucking wrong.
Marlan thinks he had a good idea about the whole situation, though. You thought that, or was it you, or maybe it was my other buddy? He said that he thinks that it might have been a failed attempt to commit suicide, and because the keys were in the ignition apparently, and either I guess it worked, or
it was
the car kind of runs out of gas after
That was
60.
successful.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys see? All
right. What are we talking about?
I was a little pissed off the other day. Not that I get pissed off at Fox News all the time, but they were talking about welfare checks and people getting welfare, and somebody said that when you actually get welfare, a family of four is $110 a week. And so they were talking about how, and this lady on Fox News goes, you know what greatest shape I'd be if I had to live on $130 a week? And it just hit me like, you are such a fucking douchebag. Like, how could you say that about people? Because, I mean, it's not just, hey, I'm glad you get a cheap meal to stay in shape because you're actually not consuming enough calories to make you a healthy person. So I was just kind of like, I don't know. They say all kinds of shitty things on that show, but it kind of like epitomized it for me.
That's like saying Gandhi had a great weight loss program.
Yeah.
He was doing that as a protest, bitch. And the fact that you're only getting $100 a week, that was a week, right, or in a month? It was a week or a month?
Week. Yeah.
This is gonna get crazy.
Yeah, you might as well split it in the middle.
Fox News says some really callous shit at times, don't they?
Yeah. And when you think of the idea of...
No. You gotta you can't.
All right. When you think of the idea of what we're supposed to promote amongst ourselves, which is citizenship and getting along and thinking of the greater good kind of thing, that's the part that I definitely think Rock would be a good person to talk about this. The callousness of you're dismissing people. You know, it's people that are not doing their jobs. They're not working. They're not, they're sitting on the couch. And at the same time, part of me is like, okay, so you sit on the couch, but you only make $103 a week. You can't, that's not very good rent. That doesn't count clothes and utilities and all the other things that you get. You really are living off of nothing. That's not a very well-lived life. How's that sound? You know what I mean? It just seems just like to assume that they're enjoying themselves, just kind of, I don't know. Again, it seems callous and it's not very conscientious or thoughtful and caring as if that's what we're supposed to be doing for each other. That's my opinion.
You know what? I'm going to ask Chris and Marlan this, and Evan, you can pipe in if you like. The lady in the garage. Now, do you think she would be in? Let's say that was a successful suicide attempt with her car in the garage. Would we find that fucked up shit if suicide was legal? If the whole Dr. Kevorkian thing was an accepted part of our society, and people were like, you know what? Fuck this world.
Mm-hmm.
Screw this society. My job sucks. I'm not working at Long John Silver's no more.
You got nobody.
Yeah, maybe you don't have any family, or you have a terminal illness, and you're just like, what do you think? Should suicide be legalized? Should there be that type of thing? Marlan?
Honestly, I don't think it matters if it's legal or illegal.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was even illegal.
Because if you
who do they punish?
decide to kill yourself, it's not like they can punish
Well,
you.
you know what? You're right. But what if dickhead to my left here said, "Oh, I got testicular cancer, and I'm not going to be able to deal with myself once my balls are gone." Dude,
Love in the room.
do me a favor. Take me out to the woods and just help me out and take me down. I would have to do that for my buddy. Well, I don't know. He wants me to do that. We talked about that.
No, I know what I said was, when I die, I don't want them taking me to the hospital and embalming me and doing all kinds of crazy shit. You're supposed to steal my body from the morgue and take me out somewhere and burn me in a pyre.
That's
There you go.
Okay,
That's
there's a
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
There's a subtle difference, I guess. I guess that's just nuance. That's nuance. I'm saying if you have a hangnail, I should be able to kill you. That's what we have on record.
If it's
That's
bad.
what's been recorded.
If it's bad enough.
If the hangnail is bad, if it's an infected, you know what? Sometimes you get an infected fucking hangnail, you can't do shit. You can't mess with oranges. It's acidic. It burns.
Ugh.
Do you want to have syphilis? Would you want to live with syphilis?
Hangnails to syphilis.
I'm just saying, there's some things that just wreck your fucking life. I'm thinking that if your ball, all right, we're gonna stop with that. That's just gross. I don't know why you brought up syphilis.
You totally started it. So.
All right, what else we got going on? Oh well, in regards to Fox News, we had it on the previous podcast we did last night. We accidentally recorded over it. Sorry, Dave. Apologize. But we were talking about how RT. Have you guys seen? Do you guys get on YouTube very much? Are you YouTube watchers?
Yeah.
I don't watch the popular videos.
Yeah, probably not enough to.
I watch like music and stuff. I don't ever watch like whatever is going viral.
Because there's a interview from an RT reporter and RT is Russian television, right? If you guys are up on that. But there's two broadcasters now that have gone online, they do their story, then they say, after this broadcast, I'm resigning because my bosses are telling me to report the news in a favorable light for Russia, for what the Russians are doing. And I can't do it. I have family members that are in the Ukraine, and so this is immoral and unethical, and I quit. So can you imagine if Dan Rather or Bill O'Reilly was like, I'm not doing what these fuckers tell me to do anymore. This is immoral.
And the key is RT is Russian television, but it's come across normally as like this really open source of news. I can compare it to like NPR, kind of like you just get the straight kind of, there's no opinions necessarily. And so now they're saying that these independent news people are saying, I can't do this anymore because they're telling me what to say. So, I mean, that's why it's significant to hear about these people saying, that's it, I can't do this anymore. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, good on them.
Yeah. You better get
I
out
think
of
that, what, we talk a lot about risk on this stuff, on this show, and it's like, I don't know if I could do that. If somebody said to me, hey, your job is going to be this, and it's, and okay, now you have to start doing this. I got 2 kids. I got a mortgage. My wife wouldn't be happy with me if I said, "I'm sorry, I have to protest. I can't do this anymore," and walk out.
Yeah.
It'd be tough. So I mean, I think it's, like you said, good on them, and I think that's kind of ballsy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that, and I think people easily start figuring out ways to say, "Oh, no, that's okay." What's that called? When you justify it. People find easy ways to justify what they're doing. They're like, this is no big deal, or this is my job, or we have to have certain weapons that. Never mind, we're not going to go into that. All right, back to the Evan Stock Band. When did you guys get together? How long have you guys been doing this?
Well, it actually started a while ago. I mean, we all met in school. I met Chris back in 6th grade when we started middle school, and we met Marlan in, actually I think it was our senior year of high school, so there's a big jump there, obviously, but me and Chris met back in 6th grade, and we initially started jamming together because we'd both been playing our instruments since we were like 8, or younger. And
oh yeah, way younger.
Yeah.
And this is pre-garage band. This is pre.
Yeah, that right there is pre everything. I mean, that was just us starting to network. I mean, you were really like the first serious musician I ever met, which was pretty awesome. Because I mean, when as soon as we got together as 6th graders, we went downstairs into his basement and set up our stuff, and pretty much instantly just started jamming.
And where do you guys go to school?
I go to UNI.
Okay.
Studying music up there.
Awesome.
Yeah, we met back at Regis Middle School is where we met.
All these Catholics.
Yep.
God, man. I'm telling you.
I went to LaSalle.
Really?
Oh, before it was LaSalle and Regis, before they combined.
Uh-huh.
So you were there before they combined?
Well, it was turned into a middle school when they combined to form Xavier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you went to Regis
Middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah.
Same here. And then we went to Xavier after that.
So you guys can testify Catholic girls are freaks.
They're crazy.
Because I didn't do anything bad until I went to LaSalle. I transferred there my junior year, and that's when I learned sin.
Oh, everyone's crazy. Yeah.
I was a normal kid growing up in Solon.
That has to be Catholics. You don't think that at another school, if you had gone to, you walking in the stud wrestler like you did at LaSalle, that's part of it.
Well, it's the idea of the plaid skirts.
We didn't have those.
You know what? You're right. But we had crazy satanic nuns back in the day, but they didn't hit us.
Right.
But they were.
See,
they were bitchy.
Yeah.
My wife went to Regis High School.
Yeah, so did my mom.
So she has the skirt.
My mom did too, yeah.
Yep. Our parents actually went to high school together.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
everyone knows each other.
So me and Chris kind of went on kind of like a 2-man jam band type thing for a while. We played at like a few things at the school because the administration kind of took notice that we were actually doing something serious.
Oh man, I wish we had that video.
Yeah,
That would've
we,
been
like in
really
7th
cool.
grade, we got recruited to play Stairway to Heaven at one of their big spring concert things.
It was a band concert. You ever been to like a middle school concert for anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, right in the middle of it, all of a sudden we stopped and like these kids walked over to like a rock setup and
Yep.
jammed out.
We played Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah,
as middle school.
we got a standing ovation. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty good.
Oh, it was the
Well,
coolest thing that.
And I'll give
ever
you guys
happened.
props too, because I was watching some past videos. I mean, and you hear bands where you're just like, oh, they're good, kind of thing. But I was like, oh wow, people playing Hendrix is a little sketchy. Got to be a little nervous. And then I was like, holy shit, I listened to this. It was fantastic. It was really good. So I'll give you guys huge
Thank
props
you.
on that. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
Each one of you, what's your main instrument? What's your specialty?
Well, we're a 3-piece, first of all. Like a lot of, we're Evan Stock Band. We used to be Evan Stock Trio, so people could already get an idea that we're a 3-piece. But I don't know and some people don't really understand that. Like think about like Cream type stuff, and even like Hendrix back when he did his 3-man stuff. I mean, it's really basic. So I play guitar and sing. And Marlan.
I play the bass. I started on the stand-up bass actually way back in elementary school, so kind of switched over after a year or two of playing that to bass guitar.
Is that a big switch going from stand up to, or not really?
It's harder to go from electric to stand up.
it's
Physically it is.
It's harder to go the other way. It's harder to go the other way.
So if you can already pick it up on the upright and you switch to an electric, it's like
Yeah.
driving a Cadillac.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. I like that image.
And I play drums and percussion, and I'll make any of the other noises. If we need any other sound to happen, like Except there's that car crash, which I didn't do.
Yeah, you didn't do that.
But
That's good.
Where have you guys played in Cedar Rapids?
Well, we played,
Lots of places.
Yeah, we played a lot of places so far. I mean, we played everywhere from like some of our favorites are Parlor City. They've always been great. We host our CD release events there, and we love it.
Oh, we love Parlor City.
Yeah, it's great. We've
Yeah,
been on there
great
every time
beer,
we've gone there.
too.
We've had
Great beer.
great times down there. And I mean, other than that, we played Chrome Horse. We played Capone's. We played 3rd Street Live. We played
Cedar River
Tornadoes,
Landing.
Cedar River Landing, and we've the Firehouse. We've taken part in the jams down there. We've played a lot more places I can't really think of right
So
now.
do you have a mailing list so that, or I saw your Facebook page.
Yeah,
so
we have a-
you'll post stuff on there where you're going to be. And
mainly.
what's going on.
We've been slightly in a slow spot right now. Recently, we've been focusing a lot on recording ourselves and a couple other bands, but yeah, we haven't had a lot of shows recently. The last one we had was on January 4th when we released a CD, and we got another one coming up at April 4th at Parlor City where we're going to release another CD.
April 4th.
April 4th. And yes, we will be posting everything on Facebook. Right now, Facebook is our primary place to see what's going on. We're working on a web page right now. Again, we've had a few in the past that just didn't really do it for us. So we're going to make sure that once we get that going, it's going to be something we're actually going to want this time. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of change and a lot of there's been a lot going on because when we met Marlan, me and Chris back in high school, and we found out he was playing bass and really into the influences we were into, it really got us excited about what could actually happen with this lineup. And then catastrophically, Marlan actually was taken from us. He was actually
Forcefully.
Yeah, he left.
It broke our hearts.
Rehab.
I was
Rehab.
originally from Wisconsin, and I was living down here with my grandparents because they've always lived in Cedar Rapids and the surrounding area, and I got in trouble. My grandparents found something they didn't like, and that was it for a while. But
Did you guys ship home to Wisconsin
yeah, I
now?
got shipped
Yeah.
back
Okay.
home to Wisconsin. Came back. I don't know, a couple months ago, 6 months ago, about, and been going strong ever since.
Yeah, because we
Good.
never really did ever get to actually play with this lineup like this.
Awesome.
And when in about the same time that he left, Chris also went up to Cedar Falls to go to college.
Yep.
I was down here at Kirkwood for a while, so I stayed in town. And a good buddy of mine, Drake Wilson, and another one, Stephen Baker, they were the ones who filled in. Now, I mean, a lot of people have heard the story back when we were with that lineup, how they never played any instruments before, and they hadn't. And when they stepped in, I taught them both from scratch. We had a really nice studio location way downtown, right across the street from the new U.S. Cellular Center, and that's old abandoned building. And we spent
Coventry
8 hours,
Gardens.
12 hours a day up there, and they just learned and learned. And we played so many shows with them. Me and Marlan and Chris wouldn't be where we are today if
Oh yeah.
Drake and Steven
Definitely.
didn't learn to do what they did, and we wrote. I mean, they was incredible. It really was. I mean, when people would ask them how long they've been playing, they'd be like, oh, a year, and then a year and a half, and then 2 years came, and it's coming up on 3 years now that they've been playing. But it was just great. But they also knew that amongst the time that they were playing, that we were kind of waiting for these guys to come back.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Dream team.
saying? It was it was kind of just like a big group effort.
Awesome.
Everything,
Yeah.
everybody cared about the music and the direction of the music. It wasn't just, oh, I want to be this. It's just we really cared about what was going down, and everyone understands that what we're doing is actually, it's something that we're doing, strong. We're actually.
It's a really funny story too, because we got together. Was it 6 months ago now? Officially, all of us were we're in this,
Cool.
But before that, it was just we always just kind of assumed that this was the lineup we were gonna have. Evan and I, we would always assume oh man, where's our bass player? Oh, we got, and then Steven came, that was great, and then I left, but when Marlan got back, we were all right, we're here now. Marlan's here, and now we have the band together, and it didn't feel like we hadn't ever played together. As soon as we played, it was oh, all right, this is where we were at before. This is what we wanted. And
Well, when you have those serendipitous things happen, it's supposed to, it's almost meant to be.
Yeah.
It's really
It
cool
kind of feels
because
that way.
back when we met in 6th grade, me and Chris, instantly, we knew what we had going was cool.
Yeah.
So we invested all of this money into recording equipment. That's when my passion and our passion for gear and production came into play, because that's also just huge to me. I mean, production is just as prominent in my life, my music career, as playing itself is. And we started our studio down in his basement, and that led up to where we're at today, which is
And before you know it, I mean, just me getting equipment for a podcast and not knowing anything, and I walk into, I'm going to do a little plug for Guitar Center. Me walking in going, all right, guys, I don't know what the fuck I want to do. I'm doing a podcast. That's basically what I know, what I'm doing. And so I think I need headphones from what I've seen on YouTube. Thank God for YouTube. So when I walked in, I had asked them, I think I need headphones. I think I need all these other things. And they were great because I had suggested, hey, maybe I should have these headphones. And the guy who was helping me said, you know what? Unless you're DJing, unless you need really, really expensive, perfect headphones, go with these. They give you a much better sound, and they're cheaper than the ones that you were going to pick out. And that fucking blew my mind because it was the first time in a long time that a sales associate actually helped me pick out something that I needed instead of something that I wanted, and I would have lost a shit ton of money if I would have went with what I wanted, which I think it was Beats headphones or something like that. And they actually suggested, hey, go with these Sennheisers. They don't cost as much, and you'll be much happier with what you're with what you're using them for. You're going to be happier with that. I don't know, where did you go for insight on this stuff? Because for me, YouTube is teaching me everything.
I honestly, when I started, because I got into this really early before. I wasn't hanging out with a bunch of friends every weekend. I was sitting in my room playing guitar and trying to make sure I can, I started by looking at my parents' old dinosaur computer and finding the direct 1/8-inch jack into the back, and I'd plug it in, and I'd go into the system tools and open the most basic sound recorder that there ever is. Just so basic, little window on the screen, and I'd record stuff, just one track stuff with no effect or nothing, can't do nothing with it. And I knew that was what I wanted to do. And as I went to Chris's house into his basement, basically did the same thing. We got a cheap program, ran all of our signals.
We started with that tape player too.
In realism, I had a pretty good idea of how a lot of this stuff, like the knob turning and where the chords and all that stuff. I actually had a pretty good start with it as I started. And a lot of it is being able to invest a good amount of money into equipment that you can progress forward with. You know what I mean? The system we used to work on in his basement was pretty primitive. So
yeah, because you guys could sound great. You might play your instruments well. Mm-hmm. You might have wonderful voices. The drums sound good because, hey, who can't hear fucking drums unless they're the electric ones, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't have good recording equipment, or if your mixer,
your signal chain's all important. You can't
jacked up.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can't just run it all straight in. It's all got to be. There's a lot to it, and it takes a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of experience. You got to know what sound you want to have. Right. And I've always liked it because I kind of like that vintage, really that vintage tone. I like that 60s, 70s sound, and that's something with this newer technology nowadays, which is already, even the entry level equipment that you can get nowadays is so much more advanced than some of the stuff that there were back in the day. But it's like, being able to mold the sound into what you want it to sound like is key.
Now, isn't there kind of a resurgence? There's one recording studio that artists can go to, and it's not digital. It's on a tape.
Analog,
so, yeah. It's like you get one try. We're not splicing shit together. So if you make a mess up, it's almost like people are wanting to hear that authentic piece. Mm-hmm. Are you guys ever mess with that? Do you do like just one takes and this is raw? And you were saying that you
yeah, we do a lot of times. With the equipment that we do have, we get really, really down to it, and we use a click track, and we start bit by bit so that we can go in and tweak every little thing that there is and make sure that we get the perfect take. But there are times where we set up a room microphone and we all set up and do a live recording where it is all just slapped down at once. And a lot of times, if it's going to be a good take, it's going to mean that we did everything right. If we did make a little mistake, we'll redo it just to, but I know what you're saying.
That's also really subjective too. Like the perfect take is pretty subjective. Mm-hmm. Like we could play something and like your guitar could be way out of tune, or my drums could sound like garbage cans literally, but that could be the perfect take. So
well, and
it just depends.
That's a good image in my head, because have you guys seen that movie Inside Llewyn Davis? It's a Stephen Cohen. It's a Coen Brothers movie, and T-Bone Burnett did all the production for it. He's the same guy who did the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" stuff, music, and they made the actors play their music live in the takes for shooting the movie. And they say that it's part of it is that's where the sound comes from, is that they are.
Well, that's part of being a performer, is so that if you, that's anybody can look at what's going on right now on radio and be like, oh wow, he or she sat down in a recording studio and practically said those, and then they went and auto-tuned it all to what it needs to be. It's like, yeah, anybody can do that, but you do, as a true performer, you need to be ready to have to sit down and perform something on the spot, true and real. I mean, that's what being a musician is all about.
And you guys, how many CDs do you have out now?
See,
2,
well,
3, 4.
a couple. Yeah, it's like
Depends.
since we've been so deep into this production thing, along with being a band, we've been kind of just shitting out records here and there. To be honest, I mean,
Good
like
shits, though.
a few, like some of them,
best
some of them
kinds
has
of
a bunch, some of them has a few, some are just one song demos. But it's just like,
Cool.
it's like the band. One of my favorite bands is The Band, and I remember watching some stuff on them. And back in the day, they, the Big Pink was their house, and they moved into this house out in the country, out in the hills, and I think it was Virginia, and they they did what we did. They filled their basement full of recording gear and recorded an album. And then after they did that and everybody loved it, they moved into the city and met with a bigger name producer. But they wanted to do the same thing, so they rented this nice, property with like a pool and a pool house and a big house with like 100 bedrooms, so that all these people could come and stay. And they said, basically all you do is sit there, party, play music, have a good time, and if you got anything recorded, it was a good day. That's kind of how it is, So in terms of what we got for records, starting with this lineup, we used to be called, back in high school when we first started, and I first started singing, and we were a trio, and we knew we wanted to be a trio. It was me and Chris, and Ben Williams was our bass player, along with Miles Keane and a few other people that we played with along the times. But it was the Cobalt Chromatic was the name of our band, the Cobalt Chromatic. And
Classic.
we were back at the old Coventry Garden studio, and we recorded a album there that was kind of just self-titled, I think it was, wasn't it? The Cobalt Chromatic. And that had a lot of tunes on it that we still play to this day that were written in crazy ways. Some of them were written, like a couple of the songs, some of my favorite songs, like Goodbye Snowy Winter, is a song that we could talk about. And that it was actually one of the very first songs, and that song is the song that I used to teach Steven and Drake how to play their instruments when these guys left. I mean, it's really raw sounding, but it transferred over. We played it so much that it now is a song we play as this lineup as well. I mean, it's just like that, it's stuff like that.
There's a phenomenon that I've seen that I don't know if you want to say it started with Justin Bieber. I'm not going to talk too much about him at all.
No, let's forget about it.
But what I have seen is that people are self-publishing and self-producing and using YouTube as this huge stepping stone to get their voices out there, to let people see them. And for some people, it's extremely lucrative. For some people, and me watching, Todd has a relative that owns a name brand, Sauce Hockey. It's a clothing line.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Be specific.
I've had half a beer. I've had half a beer and about a pound of bacon.
Oh, that'll do it to you, man.
Oh, I love bacon.
Me too.
Okay, so his relative owns this hockey clothing line. We had him on the podcast, and we were getting ready to interview him, and I started looking up Sauce Hockey on YouTube, and on their page they've had artists on there, and it's just fucking there's like 5 new artists now that I love watching on YouTube and listening to, and there's no way I would have fucking known about them if it hadn't been for YouTube. I see that as being like a really awesome thing for artists, so that they don't get ass raped by.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful, and it's a really, really, really good thing, but it's almost hard, especially for us, because, I mean, we got a really nice handheld HD audio and video recorder that we take to our gigs and record and stuff, and sometimes we get some really crazy, awesome footage of some great stuff, but it's like we put so much hard work into what we do in the studio and going onto the CDs that we're going to release that, sometimes we don't get around to posting. I mean, we could set up our little thing, and we could put down like a really cool 25-minute video that we could easily pop right onto YouTube and anybody could see it. And we should be doing that, really, but we spend we spend so much time focusing on what we're trying to do. I mean, it is something that is very good, and some people, it kind of reminds me there's some people out there that aren't doing that as much, but like Justin Bieber, he was kind of by himself. Like he I mean, when you got a whole band like this, it's kind of the same idea, but I see it as like you said, stepping stone, but it's more of an actual stepping stone, like stepping up a little bit. Like if you let's just say there's some pretty girl who can play guitar and sing really well. She might be posting videos every week onto her thing with some huge boobs, and everybody's looking at that. So, they're all going to see it.
I would be.
They're all going to see it, exactly, and everybody's going to love it. And then her next stepping stone will be some big, huge deal that's really going to push it along and make it,
Yeah. we want to keep people coming to our shows too, you know, like, and we try to play enough to the point where, you know, they go to our page and they want to hear us. It's be like, well, we're playing tonight, you know, come on down. Like we like that too.
You can't take anything away from Justin Bieber being a kid in Canada playing guitar on YouTube. I mean, that's what he was at one point. We all can agree he's a train wreck now. But I mean, before that, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's still,
you know what I mean, it's
still got him somewhere.
Yeah, he's playing drums and doing guitar on YouTube just for shits and giggles. I don't think he was looking for Usher to come find him, or maybe he was. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's a good stepping stone if people are just trying to get themselves out there to see what happens, because it does seem like, even if you watch shows like, what is it, American Idol or some of the stuff, I mean, it seems like it's a racket to kind of even get in the door. So I'm a huge vinyl fan. Have you guys ever? Is it expensive to have a album put onto vinyl?
Yeah.
Is there a way you can do it though?
Yes, there is, but it is tough.
It's because you gotta. I mean, the blanks or like the master will run out, so you have to buy enough for them to make you enough for that master to run out.
Yeah.
And then you have to sell them all, you know, and that's really expensive. You can't just buy like 4 or 5. You have to buy like 250.
Yeah, like you can.
Holy shit!
You have to
basically
buy a lot.
every album that you have on a vinyl, if you're to reproduce it, you got to like play it all the way through. And if you know a vinyl, every time you play it just once, it takes away a quality of the playing. So, you know, you sit there all day in a factory playing a master, spinning off like 400 runs of that album in like 2 hours. Well, I guess that wouldn't even work at all.
No, but however long that takes, yeah.
Okay. Because I think I saw something with Pearl Jam saying that I think they're one of those bands that they have it written into their contract that a certain amount of their albums are done vinyl.
Yeah.
And seat in the rest of
I would love that. That's definitely a bucket list thing for me. I'd love to have something I've done on vinyl. And so I'm looking for that right project, you know, where I can sell enough of them that I can have one for myself.
Well, and I like the idea too, is, I mean, I got into vinyl from my grandfather. And my kids like the fact of we go into a room and we open it up and we put the needle on.
Yeah.
They like, I mean, you can see the song is actually, there's a physical song on that album. I mean, it's kind of neat that
it's an experience.
It is. And it's a total different sound too.
Best sound quality too.
Well, then what's crazy is I got on, I was like, you know, this is a really shitty turntable that I have. And so I thought, well, I'll go look and see what they have online. There's like $10,000 turntables.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, Jesus, I had no idea that they got to the point where they were so expensive. I mean, like, a block of stone is the main turntable, and it's got this piece of rubber around it that's turning it perfectly balanced. And I was like, I had no idea that stuff was that expensive.
Well, and you can get like the laser ones, you know, without a needle.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different kinds. Like, we just have ours integrated in our studio setup at home, where we have some pretty nice 8-inch studio reference monitors that we run it through, and it really brings it all to life. And just like the other day, it was my buddy's 21st birthday the other night, and one of my other friends, it was actually Drake's, our old drummer, and Steven, our old bass player, got him a vinyl, and he wasn't telling anybody wasn't telling us what it was, because we got a bunch of vinyl, and it's all vintage stuff, you know, it's older stuff, but he said it was a newer band, and we're like, a newer band, who's that going to be? And it's actually Jack White, one of Jack White's recent projects, The Dead Weather.
Oh, cool.
Their first album, Whorehound, and he's way into vinyl, Jack White is, so like there's videos of him putting his stuff on vinyls like himself in a factory, and like he's way into that. At his studio, he runs a vinyl shop out of like the basement of the studio, so it was really cool to see that there are still some artists putting out stuff like that, and we put it on. I mean, it just sounded incredible. You could tell it was just.
And he seems like an old soul, kind of like from back in the day. I mean, I'm a huge fan of theirs too. I went and saw Damien Rice. Have you heard of him? Irish singer. I saw him at the Fillmore in San Francisco years ago, and he had a cello player with him, and during their break, she would come out and she would play modern hits, and she did the White Stripes. It was probably their most popular song. I forget what it was.
Seven Nation Army.
Yeah, and she did that on her cello, and it just absolutely blew me away. And supposedly he heard about it as well, that she had a really good rendition of it, and he called her and gave her huge props about it and stuff like that. Nice. So I mean, I just like him as a person. He seems like a pretty cool dude. Yep. And I heard is his studio. He also has a record store. Is it in Nashville? Okay, because I've seen. I want to say it's American Pickers.
Third
one of
Man
my favorite
Records.
shows on TV.
They've gone there.
Yeah,
he was
did.
on there. Okay. Yeah, I'm a huge Jack White. If you guys can pick one song that you're going to play for us today, what's that going to be, do you think? What's the one you guys want to stick with?
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to have to think about it for a minute.
All right. Well, you will hear a song by this wonderful group of men at some point. So we're
the Evans Song Band.
I was being nice.
Why? What do you mean?
Group of men. Because we've heard their name like 7 times. I think
it's okay if we say their name again.
And I don't think it's okay if I say they're a wonderful
I
group of
swear
men.
to God, I'm going to fucking punch you.
So here you go. Enjoy. Watching, something being born.
Oh yeah.
It's like something being born.
Less messy though, usually.
Yeah. My wife's a labor and delivery nurse. It's pretty fucking
God.
messy. I guess.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Do you ask her how her day is usually, and do you get lots of gross stories? And,
Listen, because she's a nurse, she can't give me.
yeah.
She doesn't bring up anybody's names, but she might talk about something messy.
No thanks.
There's-
Not at the dinner table.
Not
The best part's the names.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
And
and
the names are just incredible.
yeah, the one mom. Now Marlan, that's probably the most unique name I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
It's not crazy though. It's not
No.
Oh, it's a
Absidy.
beautiful name. You have a beautiful
It's a
name.
beautiful
It's
name.
pretty beautiful.
With
yeah.
great hair.
Yes. Oh, he's a great looking
Yeah.
guy.
Fucking young
Yep.
people with your
Yeah.
hair.
Girls tell me all the time they wish they had my hair. Tell me all the time.
Like it.
But at least your name's not Absidy. ABCDE.
Oh.
That's
ABCDE.
That's a pretty bad name.
Wow.
Absidy.
That's awful.
You know what? I heard one. I didn't hear it. I heard it in my head when I read it. But I was driving through Boston, I think it was, and we stopped at a toll, and I looked up at this girl's name tag. By the way, she had fingernails. They had to wear gloves, at the toll booth, and her
Okay.
fingernails were so long they were sticking through her glove. No, she purposely pulled the glove back. So.
Was there
and
Absidy?
I don't know. It wasn't. It was TUZDE. with a little accent over the E.
Tuesday.
Her name was Tuesday. And it didn't click until after we drove away. Oh man.
Okay.
You know, it is cool looking,
But
and
it's
it's a conversation starter.
I would never want that name.
No, that's
As soon as I turned 18, I would change my name. The first thing I would do.
You talked about the band being an influence. What are some other influences band-wise, each of you individually? That
I was gonna say
people
individual
really,
because we have a pretty interesting individual.
awesome.
lineup of that.
I grew up in the late '80s, and so I'm a huge Public Enemy fan, Beastie Boys fan, a huge influence from that. I also was I was born in '71, so I'm a huge Beatles and the Eagles, and you name it. I enjoy like what I guess you consider light '70s rock. You know, it's on my Pandora. It's my favorite thing on Pandora. People make fun of me all the time, and I just love it. You know, Little River Band. You know,
Yeah.
it's okay. I like it. But so, what are you guys' influence individually?
I don't know. For me, the first CDs my parents ever bought me when I was a kid were the Who and Pink Floyd.
Oh,
And
nice.
Those were kind of always my go-tos throughout, everything. John Entwistle from the Who is a great bass player. I love his style.
Yeah.
I don't know, so that's what I've always kind of aimed for.
But so you also like some other bands like Fish.
Yeah. Yes, I enjoy Fish. I've always wanted to go see them.
Okay, Marlan,
At Alpine.
Fish.
But see, it's just a whole different style. You know, that
yeah.
jam band's got like Humphreys McGee, and I love Humphreys McGee. I love Fish too. I've just never really got to do them as much as.
Yeah. Grateful
Do you-
Dead, of course.
when you listen to music
yeah.
that you like that, did you find yourself gravitating towards the bass player? Or do you like all the music all together, but you just kind of,
Yeah, pretty much any time I'm listening to music that has a bass player in it, I tend to listen to that a little.
you like Sting?
a little bit more.
Oh,
I like the Police.
come on.
He's a bass
I
player.
like.
That's what I'm wondering.
I like the Police.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't like his.
Not Sting.
His solo stuff very much, but
It's okay.
Yeah,
I love
his
Sting.
bass
It's
playing
okay.
on
We
that
can still be
he's
friends.
a great bass player.
Well,
He is.
He talked about. He's a very. Obviously a very arrogant guy, but he talked about he learned how to play bass. He had a book out called Broken Music, and he saw Jimi Hendrix in the attic of some building where he was at when he was a kid, when he was tripping on something that made him want to get into music. But he's one of those guys. He said, I wanted to start playing bass because I knew that the bass player pretty much drives the music. They're the bass line for what you guys follow when it comes to the rhythm. He wanted to be in control of everything. So that's why he learned
Classic.
bass. Now, I'm not going to say, Marlan, you're like that either. I'm just saying that always epitomized to me somebody who's really egocentric. That's just me.
The way I see it, it's kind of like the glue between
Yep.
the guitar and the drums.
Okay.
It's kind of right in between there, and it.
You have to
That's a
do
good
both
visual
of our
for me.
jobs
Yeah,
at the same
It has a
time.
perfect pocket right there.
No, you
And
might
I
think
think
you're not
it's-
hearing it, but as soon as it goes away, you
Oh.
And
you
Oh,
can
yeah.
tell.
And in a three-piece like this, it's everything.
Freedom.
Everything's more prevalent in the song.
Like he gets the opportunity to do anything he wants, really, because like we all trust each other on stage. Like honestly, we can all do whatever we want at any time in the music. And the cool part about it is if we all decide to do whatever we want at the same time, there's a really good chance that it's gonna sync up and we're gonna just start
Yeah.
basically winging it together. It's like we got, we have pretty good on-stage chemistry, just musical chemistry, and I think that just stems from all of our times playing with so many other people in the world after we've all played stuff.
So the Who and Grateful Dead, kind of like the big ones.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Evan, what do you think?
My biggest influence by far is Leonard Skinner, actually. As a kid, my dad always would play me their records and stuff, and he gave me his record collection. That's how I have all this stuff. But Leonard Skinner was huge. I think like Gary Rossington and Alan Collins are the, and Ronnie Van Zant, they're the big three of the Leonard Skinner. But the guitar players, I think my style really, really grew along the way that they are. I do a lot of improv type stuff and soloing type stuff, but it's really, they're just huge. And, back when I was a kid, it was that and AC/DC, like growing up, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, those types of bands. But as I got more into variety in music, I got into stuff like Jack White, which we talked about a little bit. And the Dead Weather and the Rockin' Tours are two bands of his that I thought were really great. A lot of stuff. Definitely a lot. All the old stuff and a lot of obscure stuff actually too. Something we've really been getting into a lot lately, like Cactus, old underground '60s bands like Cactus, Leaf Hound, Blue Cheer,
Gracious.
Spooky Tooth, Frigid Pink.
Yeah, I've never heard of any of these.
Oh yeah,
I should probably write these down.
That's how it is.
Podcast and make a list.
Well, that's really how it is. It's very, very, very obscure '60s music and things that are just like. And there's some stuff nowadays too from like Sweden and overseas, like Graveyard and Witchcraft, are some really, really, really heavy progressive rock bands that it's not like metal necessarily. It's just really progressive. It sounds like it was straight from the '60s, and it was even recorded that way. Types of stuff like that are really intricate and cool, and I don't know. I like it a lot. A lot of that old stuff. And
have you guys do you follow like lead guitarists? I mean, is that kind of like your? I mean, have you heard of like Gary Clark Jr., some of the blues guitar players?
Oh, absolutely.
I could not believe. I think I saw him in 2009,
and he's close to our sound, really. Like in terms, not even.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and I mean, I saw him perform at the Crossroads Guitar, or what is it, Crossroads Blues, whatever.
It's the Eric Clapton Festival.
Yeah, I saw him perform, and I was just astounded by his guitar playing, and then I bought his album. And I saw that, and this album was 2 years later, and I heard the same song, and I thought, wow, why is it so far removed? And then this year at the Grammys, he performed with, who's the Australian country singer? I forget his name. But he brought Gary Clark Jr. onto the stage to play with him as kind of like this cameo.
Nice.
And I was like, I was happy for Gary Clark Jr., but I was like, this guy's been around for a long time, playing some serious music. He's got a wonderful voice, obviously a very talented guitar player. I just felt like, I don't know, part of me felt like it was a slight, because I was like, this guy is a really progressive, awesome,
yeah, and his
new,
stuff
young
recently
blues.
has been really
and my wife,
well recepted.
She's a little more of a pop fan, so he's got one called The Life on this album that she just thinks is a wonderful song. I like a lot more of his guitar heavy kind of songs, but again, it's kind of disappointing. I want to see people be at the front of their game and be recognized for what they do, and not be it removed or wait till the industry recognizes them for what they're, you know what I mean? It was kind of a bummer, but I was happy that he got some limelight on him, so to speak. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I'm kind of the odd man out here. I grew up listening to jazz. I'm a big jazz freak. I love jazz. I play a lot of jazz. I study jazz at UNI. So I grew up with that. My mom.
He's like 4 jazz gigs he's played just this weekend alone. He's always playing jazz.
Yeah,
really?
I'm pretty busy, but yeah. So I grew up listening to a lot of jazz, a lot of classical, a lot of that sort of thing. But my dad has a big record collection, just like Evans has all that stuff. He has a lot of big band albums, a lot of jazz, but he also has the Police and all that other stuff. So I grew up with a good mixture. My uncle actually plays in a band. I should have figured out what the name of his band is. I feel bad. They've changed it so many times, but we'll
put it on the website.
Yeah, he's been playing classic rock drums since I was a little kid. I learned to play with my cousin because both my uncles played and my grandma played.
No shit.
Yeah, so
she's not in that YouTube video. Is
no, she's not.
To the store. Okay.
No, but she could be.
I love that. I love that video.
That's a great video, though.
They gave her that drum set. That's
it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Ludwig gave her that drum set.
Yeah, but
did they really?
Yeah, they did.
Oh shit, that's
they
awesome.
saw it, and yeah,
you gotta watch it. This old lady goes in to test out some drums, like at a Guitar Center kind of situation, and she just goes bonkers.
And destroys it.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
she's
great.
got to be like 80, 85.
Well, it's like when you see Dana Carvey play drums.
I think she was 89.
she was closer to the 90s, man.
Yeah, when you see Dana Carvey play drums, you just think of him as this goofy, skinny comedian. You see him on a drum set, and you're like, oh shit! So he knows how to play the drums. So.
Charlie Watts looks like he's already dead. So
are you like? Do you follow like Travis?
Barker? No. I enjoy watching some of his YouTube videos where he's playing along with
other songs.
music.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate his skill. Like he's talented. He's done a lot of crazy stuff. Obviously, makes a lot of money playing drums. So good for him. Like that's what he loves to do. Good for him. But no, I don't follow that. I have seen those videos just because I'm a drummer. But no. But I grew up listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin, a lot of classic rock. We played a lot of that music. So a lot. I have a lot of different music that's very close to my heart.
It seems like that there's a lot of people who are good musicians, period, have a lot of influences.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a huge Roots and Questlove fan. I'm a huge
Oh,
Questlove
love
fan.
Questlove,
His
yeah.
autobiography is
Yeah.
amazing if you haven't
Yeah,
read it yet.
he's incredible.
But again, his whole life was spent playing a lot of different music before he
That's how you
found
do it.
but his whole goal the whole entire time, it seemed like, was to find his voice and his niche
Oh, yeah.
inside there. Is that kind of like the
Yeah.
is that something that you guys all kind of like pursue?
Yeah, I would love to play as much kinds of music as I possibly could for the rest of my
and
life.
it's really what's really cool. I mean, like Chris is into all that stuff, and like some of the stuff that he does on his drums are really unique. And like all of a sudden, he'll be watching him play, and all of a sudden you hear this really crazy sound, and you see he's doing something completely weird, and you're like, what is he doing? But it's perfect. I mean, it's really neat. It's really cool to be able to have that dynamic, and it's like sometimes we can just vary the way we perform some of our songs like that to achieve a totally different vibe on the song in general.
Yeah, I always strive to keep it fresh.
Strive.
You know,
You know, it's
strive,
kind of. I gotta say this. I work with a drummer. I work with a guy.
What's his name?
Ben.
I should probably meet him though.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You never
Got a lot of
know.
Iowa drummers.
But here's the thing that I
Small club.
I really appreciate from you. You can't talk to Ben without him fucking drumming.
Yeah, see,
All over fucking everything.
He used to be
I'm
that
coiling
way.
this chord right now because I kind of want to be playing. So,
He used to be that way.
oh yeah, crazy ADD. Just
Yeah, because I could
off the
say, "Hey
wall.
Ben, how was your night last night?" Well, fucking all over the place. I'm like, "Hey, there's a computer. You're gonna fucking wreck it.
Yeah.
Stop it for a second. Just stop." But he does it all the time. But when I've seen him play, I'll sit back and go, "Hey, fuck! I didn't realize there was so much to this."
Yeah, there's
Because
a lot
I've
to
never,
it.
like, I'll listen to music.
scary.
I'll listen to music on radio. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not like, I don't have this deep well of knowledge of music and the history of music and all this stuff. If somebody were to say, "Hey, remember that band in the '80s?" and they'd tell me, no.
Yeah.
But maybe if you started the song, I could finish it.
Yeah.
You know, but so to watch him play, it kind of opened my eyes to, holy fuck, there's this whole beautiful, amazing thing that I can't wrap my head around. I mean,
Artistry.
to take nothing away from
Oh, yeah,
a lead
it's the same-
guitarist
same for everybody.
or but for your hands, well, I guess it's the same with the guitarist.
Yeah,
Your
it's
hands are doing
everybody.
completely different things.
and both feet.
Yeah, and your feet, and to watch him do his shit, I was like, I could not tap your head and rub my tummy.
That's
No, I can't
separation,
hardly
that's
do
the
that
big
shit.
thing.
That's tough.
I do. It's a unique person, but it's also a great reflection of the accumulative thing that you do. I think that's one thing I gathered from that book by Questlove was it's a lifetime
Oh yeah.
of experiences and following your passions and learning
Yeah,
and
'cause
trying new things.
We never talked much about this at all, but back when me and Chris, we met in middle school, but when we graduated on to high school, both Chris and I were both in drumline together. And Chris, there was one year I wasn't on the snare line, but starting my sophomore year, I was on the snare line with Chris, and he was center snare, and pretty quickly I was second. So it was really kind of cool. I love to play the drums too, and it was.
Yeah, you played drums on most of our album, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
I really only played on like a song or two.
Yeah, but it was really cool to be able to learn alongside Chris, because he was so good, and he would write a lot of the stuff we would do, and he'd just take control of everything we would do. He didn't have such a good idea of what was going on that I knew that I'd figure it out eventually, and when I did, it was just like, you really got to ride that train for a while and try to make your brain pick up as much, because drumline and playing marching snare is
It's hard.
kind of like an example of all that we're talking about, using both your hands and feet. It's like doing that, but putting all of that into two hands and just two sticks. It's kind of condenses it all down. It's just really, it's really fun, and I learned a whole bunch about, everything and rhythms and stuff like that. But yeah, like you said, I did play drums on a lot of our albums, and that's mainly because he's living right now. Chris is living up at UNI still right now. And a lot of times it's 2 a.m, and me and Marlan are having some beers and smoking, and we're sitting downstairs, and all of a sudden I start ripping this jam, and he comes in and he's like, "Oh," he just plays it. It's just like, "Oh, perfect." And we're just going there, click, 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 record, play it. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking at him like, damn, I'm not going to wait till the weekend for him to come down and play drums. I'm like, click, 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 we're going, I'm recording drums. And so that's great, because then at the very end of the night at 5 in the morning, you're looking at it, hitting play over and over, listening to this awesome song you just recorded, and then you just can't wait to keep going with it,
Awesome.
But, and it's also, I also understand that everything that I can do drumming wise, he can take it and just do it. And he can either take it, he knows he gets exactly what I was getting at with the song, and he'll take it his own way, or he could take it and do it exactly to a T like I did it too. There's nothing I'm going to lay down that he's not going to be able to take and do. So I'm really confident in having these visions on these quick, spontaneous songs, because I know he'll share the vision. If he thinks it's a good, he'll listen to it and be like, yeah, that was cool. It's like, but, or I'll do this, or liked what you do there, but blah, blah, blah. It always comes together,
That's awesome. Well, you know what? Here's a good chance for another break, and we're going to have another song. Sound good?
Cool.
All right. it seems that you seem to have a great appreciation for each other. No, I'm good, thanks. And I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I think that to know that you're okay with him laying down a track for drums, and you're not going, hey, wait a second, damn it, that's my job. What do you think you're doing?
I mean, if I did want it to, I could.
Would, yeah. I would. Right, but I think that it's good that you guys seem to have pretty great relationships, and I think that's obviously from the very beginning, because if you're going to let people leave, and some people literally take your places for a while to get shit figured out.
But those guys still stay close, and a lot of people do have that idea. They're like, wow, it's like I can't believe that is like that, and that is true. We do have a great relationship with each other like that.
It's unique. That's singularly unique, I think, but I also think it's a representation of why your music is good and why you're staying together, and I think why you're ultimately successful is because you have that foundation of your relationship is built on.
Yeah, and we all have fun. I mean, we have shitloads of fun. So
how do you keep everything separate? I mean, how do you I don't know what you guys do full time. How do you keep that personal relationships? How do you find time to do all this stuff? Because it seems like Well, there's a thing on Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know if you guys watch or listen to a lot of podcasts. If there's one that you need to subscribe to, which is this one, if there's a second one that you guys need to subscribe to, it's the Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, and he just had on a guy who wrote a book called Mastery, and they talked a lot about the music industry and how many hours. Is it called
Effortless Mastery?
No, I think it's just called Mastery.
Okay.
I could look on my phone.
I think I might have heard about that book.
I have it as an audio book, but he talks about he gives examples about there's a coach for an NBA coach that he talks about, and how many hours people have to spend. 10,000 hours. Yeah. That's right. Good job, Chris. But he also talks about this author had sat down with 50 Cent to write a book. 50 Cent had said something like, I growing up on the streets, I thought I knew what it was like. I thought I could handle everything because I'd seen a lot of shit. But when you got involved with the music industry and signing with a label, he was completely taken off guard at just how evil and manipulative and all this stuff was. Your goal is to keep going higher and higher and higher. When you go to bridge that gap, and me hearing about how difficult it is with these people that want to control everything. I think about Macklemore has a commercial out right now on YouTube, and he talks about how he's so thankful that he held out and said, I'm not going to have anybody tell me what I'm going to sing. I'm not going to have anybody tell me what I'm going to play. I own it all. Instead of investing in going on the road and doing all this stuff and putting out a CD, and you get 12 cents out of every dollar of somebody basically stealing your talent. How are you guys? Have you guys thought about that when you get to that certain level? And what are your grandest goals? I mean, what are you really shooting for?
Because see, as of now, we haven't really posted too much straight up on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. We've been releasing our CDs. I mean, none of it's super copyrighted at this point, But I mean, I don't know. Goal wise, there's a lot to it, there's a lot to, you can sit around and play all you want here in a town like this, and have a great time. And, some might want to look at it and say make money, but if you really want to keep moving, you can step up to the next level. And, that can be a lot of different things. It can be anything from just a little tour, or really kind of meeting some people and making some connections and starting to play the next level of venues, like maybe festivals and stuff. Like we played the Wicker Park Festival down in Chicago. It's like a street fest.
Awesome.
That's kind of between a street festival like in Chicago is kind of between that and like a bigger name festival, music festival, like Bonnaroo or Lollapalooza, stuff like that. Because it really, if you pay your dues and you start getting around and making yourself known around the street fest scene, it's not going to be that hard to land yourself a little slot somewhere at Lala. Maybe you're playing at some side stage before some other group or whatever the case. But I mean, that's always going to be good, because once you make that step up to doing those shows like that, you'll really get an idea of what's going to go next. You'll start to meet some people that you want to meet, and us having the portfolio that we have of material that's our own kind of really shows that we're in it for the long run.
And you have the van.
Oh yeah.
And your windows were rattling when they backed into the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, if I haven't seen a touring van before, that's
Oh yeah, we were talking about that on the way over here.
Yeah.
all it needs is a disco ball in the back of that thing.
Oh, it's awesome. It's got
and
limo lights.
a couple
and
groupies, and it'd be fucking.
It's got limo
awesome.
lights. We took the back bench seat out of it just so we could really cram it full. It's got swivel seats,
Oh,
captain
yeah.
chairs. I mean, it is awesome.
Sometimes we throw the lawn chairs up in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
I mean,
just so you know, all my youngest,
Mm-hmm.
he's a huge guitar fan, and he's like, Dad, that is a really awesome van.
It is a
And I was
really
like,
awesome van.
It is
Yeah.
pretty sick.
89
I'd totally-
89 Chevy
Sweet.
sport van.
The year I graduated is when their van. Yeah. God damn it.
It's got like
I was
And
feeling
we think
so
it's-
good.
we think it's
I
an
was
old
feeling
van.
So good.
it's,
Yeah,
it's
a
got like
nasty old van.
68,000 miles or something,
Yeah.
or 83,000 miles or something. It's doing great.
That's it?
Yeah.
Holy
Oh, it's
shit.
nice. It's nice.
It kicks. Really
The
good.
rims are sweet too. I love
Yeah,
them.
I know, right? Those are
They're
sweet.
awesome. Oh,
It's
yeah.
got 350 V8. It sucks gas, but
Yeah, when I showed up when I picked my son up from baseball practice and we were coming home and we were about ready to pull in the driveway and my son goes, Dad, what is that in our driveway? That's a musician's van. That's what it looks like. And so that means the band is here. He's like, oh, sweet. What? So we're going to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, I got headphones on. I can't fucking hear you.
Okay, well, I don't have anything on. You guys all have headphones on.
Oh, you should
so.
put some clothes on at least, man. Yeah, I forgot to mention that earlier.
Nude. Yeah.
He does CrossFit, so he's really fit.
Oh, right. Mhm.
Which, by the way, props to CrossFit 2.2. Today was my first workout. It was awesome. It was opens. It was the second opens workout, and it kicked my ass.
Oh.
And
I ate a Poncheros burrito the other day that kicked my ass.
Oh,
Us too.
nice.
We went to Ponchos the other day too.
Junior, my son.
I did not work
I have a
out.
son who's in the Air Force, and his favorite thing to do, he comes back, all he cares about is going to Poncheros.
Oh, that's
God,
so
it's
good.
That's all that matters when you get back.
That's right.
From
Christmas
anywhere.
Christmas time is like, all I want is Poncheros gift cards. I'm like, you can't even use them all. He's like, just in case when I come back, I need a burrito.
But you'll use them sometime.
dude, your son is stationed with a lot of hottie little
Mexican
Latino ladies.
ladies, yeah.
Why does he give a shit about Poncheros? He's got some authentic.
It's home. It's
All
home.
right, whatever. Poncheros is home. Okay. So hey, thank you very much for the Evan Stockton band to be here today, Marlan. Dude, you need to quiet down a little bit. Fucking talkative little.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Chris, Evan, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
It was our pleasure.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You were our first band. You broke our cherry. You popped our cherry. There's guys that come on. They're like, "Hey, well, I was really nervous," and and I was really nervous because it is their first time on. And then you get them on the second time, and it's like, "Oh, I've had you." I'm really not nervous anymore.
So-
But I was
so
nervous
sad.
to have you guys on, and I hope you guys come back. Would you guys come back?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd love
definitely.
to.
Because we might even have an easier setup next time.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll have a mixer with more mic inputs, and then we don't have to share any mics. Because I'm going to fucking backhand Todd in about 10 seconds.
It's so nice.
Do not touch my microphone again.
Got a chance to listen to the
Evan Stock band.
trio or
Yeah.
band. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Evan
I'm
Stock
telling you, they just took off.
They just left.
A wonderful group of guys, by the way. Seem very down to earth, very grounded. But you know, they're from the Midwest as well. They should be. I'm just saying that.
And I found out that Chris's mom was my high school English teacher.
There you go.
On his
Small
way out,
world.
we figured that out.
Well, he hears
Oh,
that a
that's so
lot. He
fucking weird.
hears that a lot, though. All right, so Matt and I chose to come back on and talk to you guys. We already did an outro, so to speak, but we were so fucking blown away by these guys. They just played live for us in this tiny little studio, and our kids were all around listening to them play.
Our kids were mesmerized.
Absolutely mesmerized.
Totally mesmerized.
And as well as I honestly can't wrap my head around it. I've never seen. I want to say that I was at the precipice when these guys are going to be. At some point, they're going to be world famous, and this is why I feel this way. We've had Chuck Kavanagh on this podcast, whose main reason for doing what he's doing with Preston Leathers is he wants to get back to his community. And so it starts off with a foundation, and I've probably preached about this enough. It starts off with a foundation of coming from a very honest, point. We talked to Eric Kleinig, who's from Cedar Rapids, who owns Sauce Hockey. Again, was not about making money and being a gazillionaire and having prostitutes and coke and shit like that. It was more. No, I'm saying is people want to have fame and power and money. These people are not coming from that point. It's coming from something greater than themselves and something that they want to have to leave in the world and something unique. I'm going to put the Evan Stock Trio right up there with these guys. They are a grassroots band from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and they play at local gigs. And if you enjoyed what you just heard, it's because you were listening to an absolutely professional group of people who are making unbelievable music. We recorded every part of it, and the very beginning thing that they played wasn't even a song. That was their warm-up. You can only imagine when they start playing and singing songs that they are original to them. And I think that's the part to me that makes me excited for them as a group. I feel extremely excited and honored, to be honest, about being able to sit in this small little space and listen to them play. I just was like, there's 3 professionals that every one of them could be a professional drummer and a bass player and a guitar player. I haven't even heard Evan sing yet, and I've heard him sing on YouTube.
That was actually
that's great.
I was a little sad about that. We just did not have the proper setup for them all to play and for Evan to sing. But the way they sounded, just off the cuff playing, was really, really, really cool.
Well, it seemed like it was. I mean, I feel like we're repeating ourselves, but it's like part of themselves. He plugged his guitar in and was figuring out his amp before everybody else was done getting their drums and everything set up. And he was just riffing. He was facing the wall. He was 2 inches from the wall. And he's playing. I'm like going, oh, okay, it's fucking on. This is some serious stuff.
When for my honeymoon, my wife and I went down to New Orleans, and we walked around Bourbon Street, and one of our most precious moments was
this precious moment.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, you did it. Sorry. Go ahead. So what happens when I have my own mic? When I have my own mic?
When you have your own mic, you piss me off. Worse than when we're sharing one. No, that's not true. When we're sharing one, it's terrible.
Oh, so that's not that bad. We have to be close. It's intimate time with Matt and Todd.
Okay, so back to my honeymoon.
Go for it.
We found one of the best parts about the honeymoon was finding these little hole-in-the-wall taverns that we would find a sign over a door. And we're like, what the fuck's through that door? We'd go through it, and there'd be a bar, and somebody would be playing live. Down in New Orleans, like, there's always somebody playing live. It doesn't matter what time it is, it seemed like. And to walk in, my wife just loves to sit there and listen to that type of music, to what Evan was playing.
And who's that guitar player that she really likes back in the day? That young kid guitar player who became kind of famous. He's got a really big mouth.
Big Head Todd?
Nope. He's a guitar player by himself. Oh fuck. He's got a really large, like, grin mouth, and when he plays, that's how I remember him. But he's just a guitar player. He had one, like, breakthrough song, but now he does a lot of blues stuff. And that's why when I was listening to Evan, I was like, oh, your wife would love this guy.
I mean,
she would love him.
That was what I was getting at. They have that type of sound that if they were just playing nonstop at a bar, it could be the shittiest bar. It could have the worst tables, the worst atmosphere, everything. You walk in, you order a drink, you sit down, and you're hypnotized. You're captivated by this sound. And it was vibrating through my house when we were recording this.
Yeah.
I had to leave the room because it was so loud in the room, but I had to leave the room for a little bit to take care of a few things. And I'm upstairs, and I'm thinking, even through all of these walls, right now, it sounds awesome. I could sit here and listen to this. If my wife was home right now, maybe we'd be having sex. Maybe. Or she would be like, this is fucking awesome. I would love to have this type of music on all the time as I'm cleaning the house and just chilling out around the house and on a summer day with the windows open. It was just...
It was pretty amazing. And you and I gave each other a big hug and when they all left, because we're like, we feel awfully lucky.
God damn, we stumbled onto something.
Well, we've stumbled onto a number of things. Why these have been presented to us the way they have been, I don't know. But I feel singularly unique. I mean, you have certain people that are doing something for a certain reason that's honest and pure, and we're trying to do something here, I feel, that's honest and straightforward and pure, and you're going to find yourself bumping into people that have similar thoughts about things.
Well,
that's my assumption.
You know, when we talked earlier about the Joe Rogan podcast and the guy who wrote the book Mastery, which is Robert Greene. You can check out Joe Rogan's podcast 464, number 464 on YouTube if you want to listen to Robert Greene talk about the book Mastery. I have the YouTube or the audiobook, which is great.
This is something that you read this a while ago, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that conversation.
And what he wrote in his book rings so true. What the feeling that I got when I listened to the Evan Scott Band, when I listened to those guys talk about their music, and then just seeing their facial expressions and how they get into it, and looking at Chris and watching his face light up when he starts talking about how he makes his own drums. Oh, I'm sorry, drums. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. It reminded me of Robert Greene and how he talked about people finding their passion and they play over and over and over again. There was a basketball coach. He played NBA ball back in the 70s, and he was not good. He was not good as a young man playing basketball, but he was a taller kid and he wanted to be good, so he made himself dribble. He made himself focus on all these drills so that he could someday be a good basketball player. But when he started, he was terrible. But he was so determined to be good that he did all these things, and then playing in the NBA because he had some height and he had all these skills. By the time he got to the NBA, he was really, really so awesome because he had practiced. He had put so much time and effort into something. And the only way you can do that is to be doing something that you love. So when I'm watching these three men play this music, and
they're young. They're young men.
They're young men. And in fact,
that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that they found that passion, that niche for themselves at this age is wonderful.
Yeah. Not only did Chris's mom teach me, was my teacher
before he was born. By the way, he said that. That's before I was born.
I'm really pretty sure he was in the womb because she was pregnant. She was pregnant when she taught my senior year.
All right. That might be a book. How funny would that be if he was the baby who I knew you when you were in your mother's tummy and now you're in my podcast? That's fucking awesome.
It's pretty neat.
That's awesome.
It is pretty neat. Yeah.
But I'm totally with you. Again, watching these guys play and the passion and the love for what they're doing is just amazing. And having similar conversations with them afterwards off the air, that was kind of like, we're doing what we want to do with our lives at this point. If we could afford to do it, we didn't get a chance to ask them about jobs and shit like that.
Jobs. But we didn't get to talk to them about relationships.
No.
We didn't get to talk to them about psychedelics.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
No, it was just one of those things where we didn't get a chance to hit everything, but they want to come back, which is a good thing, I guess, overall.
Hey, anytime somebody comes on the podcast and they're like, fuck yeah, I had a great time, I would really like to come back.
Yeah. We'll have to get a fifth mic. I'm not going to share a mic with you anymore.
We're going to have to get another mixer.
Anyways, yeah, exactly. Again, I really enjoyed spending time. That's the best part. The music was great because that was the finale for me. It was the music. But getting to hear these guys, when you talk about playing guitar at 8 or, they broke. I mean, literally they broke up. They didn't say it that way. They didn't feel that way about it. But in my mind, they broke up because they had shit going on other directions. And they lost... Evan was the only person that really stayed constant with as a guitar player, and yet Marlan and Chris had to go do other things for a while. They pulled people in. He taught them what they needed to know to keep supporting what he wanted to keep doing, with the idea embedded in them that when those guys come back, they're the core part. Yeah, we just want to be part of what you're doing. That's some pretty phenomenal shit right there. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think what you see in the movies all the time because that's unless you have a backstage pass to these amazing musicians. I think one of the things that trips people up all the time is egos. So
There
when
you go.
Evan's talking about how he lays down a track with Marlan, and then they are like, oh, I can't wait for Chris to listen to this and put drums on it. I'm going to put a drum beat to it now, a drum track to it now, for Chris to be like, yeah, I like that. That was pretty good. Not to have his ego blow up and be like, hey, man, that's my job.
Yeah. And I
Just
think
all of them feeling so comfortable with one another and thinking that this is just... It's like all of them are trying to put together an end product that is beautiful, and
Right.
all they care about is that beautiful end product.
Yeah.
So if Evan does drumming, Chris doesn't act. He didn't give me the impression that
No.
he was like, "Hey man, you're stepping on my dick. Back off."
Right. Well, you and I have talked about if one of us has to have a sub, so to speak, to fill in for a podcast, and we need to get something done, and we don't want to, I honestly had one of those reactions like, I don't feel comfortable with that. This is the Matt and Todd show. I don't want to have somebody else step in. This is the Matt and JoJo show.
Well, this
I don't feel comfortable with that. So there's my ego right there.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a fucking podcast. These guys are making music,
Right.
and they're allowing somebody else to come in and fill their shoes literally for a huge chunk of time, and they were totally chill with it. Now, listen, they're human beings, and maybe they had some, maybe they
there's
didn't
a
feel
touch of it.
Yeah, a touch of it in there.
but they
I'm
don't seem
telling
to let it
you,
get in their way.
hell yeah. And as an adult male, I'm like, fuck, I don't want anybody sitting in this chair.
Well, that's why I don't show you anything on the computer or the mixer, or even how to start the record button. I don't even show you where to hit the record button because I don't want anybody taking my spot.
So these young 20-year-olds edit. So these young 20-year-olds have one up on us already. They're way advanced at us because they're playing music and making incredible stuff, and they don't fucking care who is sitting in because they know overall, like you said, they're making a piece of music that's incredible, and they're not letting their egos overtake things.
You know what I could see them doing? It might not be awesome. It might not be super cool for them. It would be super fucking cool for Nick Rosine to have, if on opening day they had a live band that was just fucking wailing on heavy shit.
Oh my God. That's
What do you
fucking
think?
phenomenal, dude. That is fucking phenomenal.
We're
This
having a podcast.
Opening day is not about we're not fucking working out. We're just opening the gym to have people come in and spend time, and people who are already members bring people in to do that.
Yeah,
and in the corner you have someone fucking railing. Oh my God. That's
Now,
the best fucking idea ever.
Again, I
Right.
just gave birth.
Hold on a second. Big deep breath.
Yeah,
Hold on a second.
you all right?
I got very excited.
Jesus, I just gave birth to that idea. The Evan Scott Band has left the building, so we don't have any hard yeses on this at all.
Oh, by the way, Evan, you have a gig on April.
It's not paying, but well,
Right.
I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
I have no idea if Nick Rosine would be willing to pay for it,
Yeah.
but that would because CrossFit 2.2. Well, let's touch on that a little bit today, a little bit right now, because not to take anything away from the Evan Stockman.
I think we've done their praises pretty well.
Yeah, but today was my first workout at CrossFit 2.2. It was an open workout.
The open being that there is the Reebok CrossFit Open workouts that every single athlete in the entire world will do, and they will gauge themselves off of the other greatest athletes in the world, and the people who are at the top will go to the CrossFit Games. So I and Matt get to do the same workout that Rich Froning does and Dan Bailey does and all these incredible women that do their workouts, and we get to compare ourselves. It's silly because they're so much advanced than we are, but we get to do the same workout that they do.
Yeah. Now, you might have thought that you explained that very well, and you did do a pretty good job. And the only reason I am comfortable with what you said is because I have a leg up on maybe what some of the listeners have. What Todd is trying to say is there is a workout, and if you want to go to the games, these CrossFit Games, what happens is they put out a workout plan, and everybody who wants to be a part of the games. And even if you don't want to be a part of the games, but you want to judge or rate where you're at physically to the professionals, everybody can do the same thing. Now, if you are working out of a gym and you would really like to go to the games, you can record yourself doing these workouts, videotape yourself doing these workouts, and if your time is good enough, or if what you complete is good enough, you can earn a chance to go to the games, which is unheard of in any other sport. Can you imagine any other sport going, okay, we're going to pass the football X amount of yards, we're going to do a certain passing pattern, and if you do well enough, videotape yourself well enough, you can earn a spot on the Denver Broncos.
Right.
No. Absolutely not.
Oh, a good example is as Gary Fisher, who did the very first workout, 14.1 this year for the Open. And that workout that they posted that we all get a chance to do, he was a rookie last year. Nobody had absolutely no clue who he was. He made it to the games. And then he came, I want to say he came in like in the top 5. Nobody knew who he was. And he came in the top 5 of the fittest people in the world via CrossFit. And now he's a superstar overnight. And now you hear about that once in a while, like you said, professional athletes. Again, this is what CrossFit does, is it brings you into that community. I mean, you and I went today, and I kept on thinking, oh, this is my buddy. I want to make sure that he knows people and he feels good about stuff.
And you did a great job introducing me to people.
But guess what? Everybody already fucking knew you because you went in and you helped out before you even did your first class with people. Like, oh yeah, I met him the other day when he was doing such and such and such because we were opening in this new gym. So I mean, just think about how quickly you're pulled into the fold. You know, they at least knew who you were. You know, they knew, oh, yeah, I met him the other day. Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah. And once again, when it was down to just a couple people, the open workout today consisted of overhead squats. So the first round you did 10 overhead squats, and you did 10 chest-to-bar pull-ups. So your chest, it had to be from your collarbone down. Anything from the collarbone down counted. So you had to touch your chest to the chin-up bar. You had to do 2 sets of overhead squats, 2 sets of chest to bar, and you had to do 10 repetitions each. Now, if you did that within 3 minutes, then you got to go and do it again, but this time the repetitions increased to 12 repetitions of each.
And what I think Nick put it the best is that you're given a chance to do more because you're fit, but because they're adding more reps on, it's challenging your fitness.
Right.
Which is the epitome of CrossFit.
Right. Yeah, so the thing I was getting to is that you and I made it, I was not doing the same amount of weight. I was only doing kipping pull-ups because I can't quite do the chest to bar pull-ups yet. Because today is my first fucking day. Give me a break, bitch.
Nobody gave you a hard time.
No one gave me a hard time. Everybody was very supportive. But I made it to the second round. You made it to the second round. Yeah. And then when we were done, the people that were actually trying for, they were using the official weight. They were going with the chest to bar pull-ups, and they were actually competing. Like we care if these count or not, if what I'm doing count. It got down to 2 guys, and everybody in the gyms, come on, fucking screaming, get back up on that bar. There was so much enthusiasm. There was so much camaraderie. There was so much passion in helping these 2 guys get that next rep. It was just very awe-inspiring. And it was neat to be on the peripheral of all that. Just to be on the edge, on the sidelines of that, watching was like, yeah, I want to come back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back next Wednesday.
Well, again, it's the consistency that's the big part. You know, there's somebody, there's somebody there who's rooting for you. You know what I mean? And I mean, okay, like I've said before, Nick's first podcast, I know when I'm not getting accolades from him that I have more work to do. You know, I mean, you're always competing with yourself to get better. At the same time, I'm not going to push myself to the point where I know that there's a lot of Achilles tears when they do a lot of fucking crazy box jumps, and shit like that. And so I know that at my age, I'm not old at 43, but I know that I am not going to push myself at certain things because I know that I'm not quite as fit as I'd like to be, and that those things are a tad injury prone. So I'm going to take my time on those things because I have have to be responsible for myself, as Nick said in his second podcast. Be responsible for yourself. So I don't care if he says get the fuck up and get going doing this, and this. I know for me,
Yeah,
I'm
you have to know your own body.
I'm going to slow down. I'm like, you know what? I'm with you. I understand that I'm pussing out, but I know that at some point
you have complete opposites of the spectrum. You have you and I. We're 40. You're over 40. I'm almost 40. We've been working out since we were teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
We know when our body tweaks a little bit, when we're like, oh, I know my body well enough, I need to stop.
Right.
Or I need to slow down. If I do another one, I'm going to be out for weeks because I pushed it too hard. You and I know that feeling because we've done that stupid thing more than once. We're like, oh fuck, no.
Felt a tweak in the squat, and you're like, oh, that's okay. I'll just keep going, and you're fucked because you finished your sets.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, you have the other end of the spectrum where there was a lady with a knee brace on because she ripped her patella tendon.
Patella, yeah.
And she was doing the whole workout. In fact, she did more than I did.
Well, she was doing shoulder with the overhead for her part of the workout, and then she was doing chest to bar. So she
wasn't squatting.
Oh no, she can't squat.
Okay,
so she was doing something. But listen, she was
still
right. She was there doing what she could.
Exactly.
To do the open.
There's a lot of people that'd be like, oh, I got an ingrown toenail. I'm gonna stay at home today. There's another guy who had an Achilles injury.
Yeah, good guy too.
And he's jumping up with one leg to grab onto that chin-up bar, and he's landing on one leg when he's letting go of the chin-up bar.
And I'll say this about him is that I told him about I'd like to have him on the podcast. He's going to do Arizona Ironman here coming up pretty soon, about in 8 months. And when we did the first open workout, which is 14.1, if you want to go look at it, you can see what it is. You had to do double unders and you had to do power snatches, and he did one-legged double unders, and it took him forever to do it.
But he did it.
And I can't do double unders, or I'm not willing to take the time to try to do double unders. And so I did singles. I did single jump ropes. And then I was watching him in the second round do one-legged double unders, and I'm like, I'm a douchebag.
But you know what?
It pushes me. It makes me go, you know what? Next time I'm going to push myself and do double unders. Even if I can only do one at a time, it takes fucking forever. I don't get a good score. At least I'm trying to do what they're asking me to do.
That's what a gym atmosphere and relationship like that family relationship gives you when you're at a place like CrossFit 2.2. And if you want to check out CrossFit 2.2, if you're in the area, if you're in the Cedar Rapids area, go to CrossFit 2, the number 2, and then spell out the word point, and then the number 2, and then .com, and check it out. And they have a new location. It's kick-ass. It's really big. It's twice as big as their old location.
Oh, it's more than twice. It's like quadruple. It's quadruple what they had before.
Easily twice as big. And I just finished with my 3 sessions. What are they called?
Foundations.
Foundations classes. Josh, wonderful trainer. Oh, you and I have both been trainers. We've both done physical fitness training for people when we were younger. So I can appreciate the positives in a trainer. I've had trainers that were overweight and they were talking out their ass and they were douches.
Right.
You know, it's like do what I say, not what I do. That type of thing. It really bothers me. Having this kid, because I'm older.
He's young.
Yeah. Having Josh, putting my ego aside and just saying to myself, you know what? I'm gonna act like I don't know a fucking thing. And I'm just going to let Josh do his thing.
Right.
I'm just going to let Josh be Josh. And I learned a lot. Even at almost 40 and having worked out since I was 13, I actually learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
So kudos to him. He was a great trainer. So anybody who wants to go to CrossFit 2.2 and you're wondering what it's like or if you're going to get proper training, fuck yes, you are.
Yeah. And I talked to Josh today, and he sang huge praise on you for you as a person and what you're trying to do with helping us out with the gym, as well as getting your foundations underneath your belt. And I talked to him about being on the podcast. He said he'd love to. He's extremely unfamiliar with that, but he would love to do it. But again, a really good guy. And I'll add that my wife said to me the other day, she's like, hey, listen, as I was talking about Josh, I do talk about Josh as being a really wonderful guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And Josh, I think, trained my wife as well for her foundations classes. And she goes, you know, I want you to feel bad, but his butt. Have you seen his butt? And I go, I have not looked at Josh's butt.
Are we talking about Josh's butt right now?
And she goes, if you get a chance, you need to check it out. And I was
Are
like,
you sure you want your wife knowing?
And I said, why do you want me to check it out? She goes, I've never seen somebody's ass like that before. She goes, it's square. It's like, it's so well built and it's so defined that it's
you
square.
Got a square. Josh,
and
got a square ass,
I
man.
don't want Josh to feel uncomfortable and say
No,
that we'll have to get a special chair
how could
for
he possibly feel uncomfortable right now?
Because he has a square ass to sit on.
Okay,
touche.
Whatever.
Anyways,
touche.
So she we were both joking about that, and I was like, you don't have to worry about having the square ass.
You don't have to worry about being a prude. Just work on your fucking cartwheels.
Do you have to go to the bathroom or something?
I'm gonna grab another beer. Is that all right? Is it okay if I grab another beer?
Yeah, I'll grab it for you.
Okay, you grab me a beer. So the Evan Stock band, oh my god, it was really, really neat. And yeah, we didn't talk about a lot of things. There was a lot of things that I wanted to work on, or not work on, but go down the road of, which was, their relationships. How do they make this all work? I mean, I did ask that question, and they were like, you don't. And then we went on to something else.
Right. Well, because you have people like Jared Demonized Downing, who's got twin babies coming.
How the fuck?
All this shit. How do you plan this stuff out? He's got a huge fight coming up. How do you plan all these things? So it's a good question to ask.
I think people struggle. That's one of the things that people, I think, struggle with the most. I was very insecure with this with my first marriage, which was trying to come to an understanding that my partner is trying to become the best she can be at something. She wants to excel at something. And instead of me supporting that, I was very insecure about that. I was very insecure about doing whatever she needed to do to be the best at whatever she was being. And I think that's a really hard fucking juggling act. Jared Demonized Downing has twins on the way. He already has a child. Lady that he's with, relationship. He a professional fighter. He's trying to juggle all that stuff together. And to talk to the Evan Stock band, Chris and Evan and Marlan, how do you? These are young guys. It wouldn't surprise me that they don't have a grasp on that yet. I didn't have a grasp on that when I was their age, trying to support somebody who's trying to be the best in what she did.
Right. At the same time, being an artist, trying to find your niche and something that you're just so passionate about and something you love so much. He said, I think Chris is the one who said everything else falls along the wayside. I would assume was what he was trying to get at, because at this point, I'm doing these things. I mean, not only is he doing drumming at UNI to get his degree.
Well, he's learning that.
Right?
Yeah,
he's making drums. I mean, he's doing some stuff that when I heard him say he made drums, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like,
he loves
everything about the subject of drums.
And when he brought that drum in, the first thing I noticed was like, God, that is beautiful. I've never seen a bass drum like that in my life.
I probably wouldn't let other people handle my fucking drums. If I made something and it was that beautiful, I'd be like, oh, thank you very much for wanting to help, but get your fucking hands off my drums.
I carried that downstairs, and I had no idea that it was a drum that he made. So that's a good point, because my first thought is like, oh shit, I was carrying that. And he's like, oh yeah, if you can grab that, that'd be great. What if I had dropped it and tumbled?
I punctured your fucking drum. Sorry.
What if it fell down the stairs?
Or you tripped and both of it, everything went down the stairs. Oh God, that would suck.
What's great though is that the front of this incredible bass drum, it says the Evan Stock Band, and it's got a bear growling. It's the same bear that's on the cover of their CD, and Scott Takis, who is Evan Stock's uncle, is an incredible artist in Cedar Rapids, who someday I want to have, again, spray paint a sick gas can on some motorcycle. My wife.
Save up your pennies.
My wife doesn't want me to have it, but...
The motorcycle or the custom paint job?
The custom paint job and the motorcycle. Probably the motorcycle first, but my want would be, if I could have a motorcycle, I would want somebody, again, I want something unique. It's like Chuck making saddlebags for my motorcycle. I want somebody who is going to be, again, singularly doing something that's unique, that's different from everybody else.
Well, I think that's kind of that's the new thing. Everybody can get, anybody could get something from Walmart. You know what I mean? There's so many, you can get whatever you want, but to have something customized, something that nobody else has.
Right.
that's kind of this trend that's people are waking up to again. You know, it's turned from we can all have anything we want, but
You want to have something what?
I want to have something that you don't have. You know, I like getting some of my clothes from On It, some of my T-shirts from On It,
Sure.
and walking around with it because I know not everybody buys their shirts from On
Or
It
even knows about On It.
or even knows about On It.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
see, I like the idea that if Chuck is going to make me a pair of chaps, even if he makes you a pair of chaps as well, okay? Because why would we
Dude,
do?
it just hit me.
Why
that
would
you
we?
said
Why,
Chuck's
why,
made
why
me
would
a
we
pair
do
of
anything
chaps.
different from each other? We'll both have a pair of chaps. Is you know that the pair of chaps. And what's funny?
Dude, we're just gonna do the podcast.
Well,
We're both gonna be wearing chaps.
and that's
nothing
it.
else.
Yeah, belly button fuzz and everything.
Oh Jesus! You had to make it gross. It was all fine up until.
Fuzz is nice. It's not
No,
bad.
it's kind of be funny. Like naked, you're naked. You're only wearing chaps, but the belly button fuzz is what put it over the edge.
I think the thing that I like about, for example, Chuck and chaps. I love that example. You know that your pair of chaps.
Who, by the way, can I just say,
Sexy motherfucker.
God,
God
he's a
damn
sexy
it.
motherfucker.
You know that your chaps are going to be different than mine. He's going to make us each a pair of chaps. And no matter what, they are going to be different. And again, I probably am biased, and I feel like, I'm a huge Midwest, Cedar Rapids, Iowa fan. But those things are different. And so you want to find somebody different from somebody else. And so you talk about people making things that are unique. I think that whether it's the music of the Evan Scott band or it's
Evan Stock Band.
fuck, what is wrong with me?
Well, there's a lot. There's a list. Do you want me to go on and on and on?
No, edit
It's okay.
Edit that out.
No,
I'm
I'm not going to
retarded.
edit it. It's Evan Stock Band.
Evan Stock.
The Evan Stock
I'm
Band.
gonna stock the shelves at the grocery store. I'm gonna stock the
Dude,
shelves.
we
Stock.
slip and we say things all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. We're
I
not
feel
perfect.
bad. They're good people. That's why I feel bad. That's why he's a good guy, and I feel I feel
Yes, you
terrible.
made a mistake.
Anyways,
the Evan Stock Band.
they're all very unique.
Hey, I'll tell
And
you
if-
what.
and
If
not
you
just
want to if you want to have the Evan Stock Band at Parlor City, which they do play at, or you want them at any other venue, your money is well spent.
Oh my god!
If you wanted a for sure holy shit experience, book the Evan Stock Band. And I'll have a link under this podcast on how to get a hold of the Evan Stock Band or to how to get their CDs, because it is one of those, you're not gambling. You're not gambling on, well,
I hope they're good.
I hope they're good.
Yeah, are they nice guys?
Are they going to fuck up? No. Oh my God. And if you wanted something raw and you wanted something personalized and you wanted to be sitting there with your friends or in a venue and you're like, they just played some shit that was not played anywhere else because they just played it off the cuff and it was just totally natural and they're so good that they could do something like that. Book the Evan Stock Band.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
They really were that good.
Honestly, I'm done blowing them.
I was saying,
Can I be done?
No, you can be done, and I'm going to take over because I am completely cut off guard by them, and it wasn't that I approached it with the way that, oh, these guys are coming in and they're going to be okay. It was more like I watched them. I thought they were incredible on YouTube. I heard Chuck talk about them. I thought, wow, this is going to be great. This will be a lot of fun. And then when you are in a room, my son was standing next to me, and I was pinned up against the wall because we had to move shit out of the way for them to play. And I am watching each of them, each individually. I was watching Evan play his guitar, and then I'd go to Marlan playing his bass, and I go to Chris playing his drums. I go back to Evan again, and I'm just watching each one of them play. And I think Evan made a good point of saying that they feel very comfortable and trusting each other when they play music together. I could see the transitions that each one of them individually is making. So maybe not so much Marlan because he's playing the bass, but when I saw Evan do his own thing, or when I saw Chris do his own thing on the drums, it was really subtle, but I could see this little... One person did their own thing, and everybody else just kind of followed along.
Yeah, well, you know what? Marlan said it the best. He's the glue that between the lead guitar and the drums. And seeing that transition that you're talking about, it's effortless.
It is.
And it seems natural. And it's cool that you could see that this guy has taken over and he's doing his thing. And it has inspired this person over here. And the bass, and Marlan is transitioning. He's the segue.
You're right.
You know, it was in that.
It was
there's
amazing.
so much.
It was
There's so
amazing.
much more to a bass player,
Yeah.
and how much that brings to a 3-piece band
Right.
than I really ever would have suspected. And that is the beauty of this fucking podcast, that we get to see these people come into the studio.
Right.
And we get to meet these amazing people.
And it sounds really dumb because I was against the wall and I was watching him play and I was going, who am I that gets the chance to watch a situation like this happen? And it's not like I'm on Jimmy Fallon's talk show watching something happen, or I'm on something, some grandiose, I don't know why I picked Jimmy Fallon, but some grandiose thing. I'm watching Justin Timberlake do something because I love Justin Timberlake. I was sitting in a room in a basement watching these guys perform, and I was going, who am I that gets a chance to watch these individuals do what they do the best and be just blown away by it? I felt so lucky to do that.
Yeah, trust me, if they sucked, we would not be going on and on and on like this. But it was one of those things that if you can, for a moment, just try to be grounded and look at and appreciate the beauty, the artistry, the creativity, the talent, and the time that people obviously have put into their craft.
Right.
And to think they're here and it's almost like you are playing privately for me.
You're sharing something with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was I am very touched and honored to have met this band.
I totally agree.
And each individual person in it. Marlan was very quiet, but I liked him. I liked him. I liked his personality.
His hair was fantastic.
Yeah, but he's so much more than his
sorry,
hair. He's
I'm
so
not-
much more than
I'm
his
not
hair, Todd.
I was not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying his hair is great. His beard is great. I love both of them. The bass player and the drummer, and you got, because what's funny is
do you have to put a stocking cap on to be a lead guitar?
I don't know.
To play the lead guitar, do you have to do that?
No,
I don't know if you have to, but Evan, he put it on and he fucking owned it, and he did a great job. Chris, on the other hand, maybe he shouldn't have got his hair cut because he really blew my whole image of what a drummer. And
But dude, I keep having these moments where
Wonderful
you and I are
personality.
finishing up this podcast, and we're sitting, and part of me keeps going, we are sitting in the same room where that whole shit just went down.
it just went all down.
And so
It just all went down?
It catches,
It all went
catches
down.
me off guard. I said catches. It catches me off guard because where I'm at right now is where Marlan was playing his bass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm with you. We can probably stop blowing, and then, like you said, I'm with you. Where I feel like I had an opportunity to see something that not everybody gets to, and greatness being performed, and I think they're gonna do fucking fantastic in their lives. What they do, I hope they stay together. They worked really hard, obviously, to stay together and be a group. I hope they keep doing what they're doing, and I fucking guarantee you, they keep doing what they're doing. Somebody's gonna hear it and go, "That's fucking magic. Here's a record contract."
Yeah.
Or part of me hopes that they realize that they are magic, and they say, "Yeah, we'll do this on our own, and we'll release shit the way we want to release stuff."
And you never know. Maybe somebody like Eric Kleinek might hear about this podcast. Maybe he'll ask him to come out and
Or
do
I
a
fucking
video.
talk to him directly.
Or maybe Todd talks to him directly, and you see the Evan Stock Band perform on his YouTube channel, on the Sauce Hockey YouTube channel. Maybe. I don't know. This is all just organic. I'm just talking out my ass right now. Maybe it's a great idea. Maybe it's the stupidest idea. But I'll tell you what. They're fucking good, Eric. Eric, hello. Eric. If you're listening right now, Eric, they're pretty fucking good.
What's funny is that the first thing you said, CrossFit 2.2 on their grand opening, if you had them in the corner, echoing in that fucking echo chamber of that gym, oh my God, would that be?
That because they play fucking loud, motivating fucking music.
You had a speaker in your ear today.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that, me personally, I think that is a perfect marriage between a gym opening and a band that epitomizes what we're trying to fucking do there, which is they have their passion. CrossFit, Nick Rosine has his passion, and we listen to that type of fucking motivational music, and that's the type of shit that just fucking drives people to get that next set. Oh, it's a perfect fucking matchup.
It's a really good point of view because if I think about where I was standing today, just watching this, just mind driving music in front of me, and then now I start thinking about the workout that we did this morning, listening to that same music, doing that would have been inspiring.
Well,
that would have driven me forward. That's
let me
a
ask
good
you
point.
this: what if it was a regular thing? What if every Saturday morning there was a fucking live band that was just fucking wailing, just grinding that axe?
Be a lot of money for
it would be a lot of money,
CrossFit.
but I'll tell you what, it would be one of those things that would bring a lot of people into the gym. People would love it, and if you are a musician out there, if you're in the Cedar Rapids area, or if you're not in the Cedar Rapids area, fuck it.
Eastern Iowa.
Let's say you're
Iowa.
anywhere in the world. If you are a musician and you just like to fucking jam,
If you're in Tokyo and you fucking rock, call us. Let us know.
that, and if there's a CrossFit gym near you, you could go up to that CrossFit gym and say, "Hey, I think that you guys like to jam. I hear that you guys like to really jam and listen to hard music to get you motivated. We would love to play in front of people. How would you like it if we showed up on a day or a weekend where we're fucking jamming and we are your source of music while you guys do your fucking workout of the day?" It could be anywhere in the United States,
That's
anywhere in the
great
world.
idea. It's a great
If you're
idea.
trying to get your foot in the door
fucking awesome.
and you like to wail on your fucking guitar and you like to jam out on your drums and you want to motivate people to do something, CrossFit gyms. Get in there, talk to the owner, and just see if you want to be seen, if you want to be discovered, if you want to have people listen to your music and really appreciate how much it's driving somebody physically to do something else. Fucking CrossFit 2.2. CrossFit
You know what,
2.2.
dude? That is an absolutely fantastic idea.
Thank you.
Even if it's like once a month, so your box once a month has a Saturday showdown, and everybody who shows up gets to listen to live music, and it goes longer than just the WOD that they're gonna. Because usually a CrossFit gym will have 2 or 3 WODs on a Saturday to get all the people that are through that they want to. It's usually like 8:00, 9:30, and later than that. So, but if you plan it right, once a month, you have a live band who's going to fucking tear shit up while you do your WODs, and you plan a little bit later. Maybe it's more like 10, 11:30, and more 1 o'clock, but it's a fucking party because you listen to music while for those 3 hours, a live band, and you fucking hang out and root your people on.
Dude, there could be a whole new
fucking fantastic.
There could be a whole new genre of bands out there that come out and they specifically make songs or tracks that are according to workouts. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That round is over with, but that band, that 3-course band is like playing down, and as you're doing a workout, you feel it. You feel the music, and you don't even need a timer. You know, boom, boom, boom.
And they end. Oh, that's a good idea.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We were talking about is it just you and me in particular? Or we talked about Chuck Kavanaugh and we talked about like sauce hockey, him making a watch out of a sauce hockey
No,
face.
you and I were talking about that for Eric.
So we were thinking about getting an old, nasty hockey.
It doesn't have to be old. It doesn't have to be nasty, but it would be
want
great
old-
if there was some type of significance to that hockey glove.
So find an old leather hockey glove, goalie glove. We give it to Chuck. He takes it and pulls it apart, and we take a good sauce hockey face of one of their awesome watches, and we make a nice sauce hockey watch via sauce hockey and Chuck Kavanaugh. Now we're talking about live music via CrossFit. A live band at a CrossFit thing. That could be something that 2.2 has never even begun to think about.
Think
Sorry.
about. That's okay. You know what? Speaking of creativity and new type of shit, because of what Chuck has brought to my awareness with the watches, with the baseball mitt, watch band, it started making me think about my kids currently have leather baseball gloves, and they're just starting out, and pretty soon they're going to be growing out of those gloves.
Right.
But I want to keep those gloves. I want to remember the beginning moments of their baseball kind of careers.
Sure.
And even if they're done in baseball when they're a senior in high school, even if that's the only amount of baseball that they play, to be able to hold on to those gloves that they had when they were babies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm with
So,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hold on to something special that your kids did, and there's something leather, and you want to incorporate that into something that you can wear to hold on to that moment in time, and it's not going to be a fucking scrapbook material. It's not going to be something that you put in an album somewhere that collects dust. It's something that you can remember your children using, and now you use daily. And every time you look at your watch band or your cuff, you're reminded of your children playing their first baseball game or their fucking first season or their 8AU fucking tournaments and how excited they were when they won that championship. But now they're in college and there's no way their hand's going to fit in that glove. And what are you going to do? Are you going to keep the glove? Or are you just going to let it sit there and collect dust? Or are you going to have Chuck Kavanaugh motherfucking rise above leathers? Make something that you could wear every day and look at that and remember.
Yeah.
Have that spark, that memory of, I loved watching my kids play.
Yeah, and every time you wear that watch, that's what you think of. I mean, I
got two gloves. I got two, maybe three gloves that I might give. I'm going to talk to Chuck about and maybe making something for me.
Awesome.
Because they can't use them anymore.
And I have my my grandfather's watch that I got when I helped clean out his apartment when he passed away, and I have it sitting in a drawer and it needs to be fixed. And he knows a watch, repair, and I'm gonna do something with it. It's a really small faced kind of watch. It's almost like a female kind of watch. So I'm not sure how.
So put it on a big manly fucking cuff.
And so you have a big fucking cuff and a little teeny weeny silver.
That's okay.
I might put it like a necklace. Maybe that'll make me.
That's like having a big cock and small balls. It's okay. I accept you for you. Todd's got a big cock and small balls. It's all right. Who cares?
It could be that way. So, anyways, I think it's pretty awesome that we have a lot of these things.
It's that creativity that's just fucking, oh my God, it's really getting me stoked up right now.
It's synchronizing. It's in a really positive way. And I hope that people, if you and I are feeling it, I hope people are outside of this podcast are feeling it.
It's very serendipitous, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's very serendipitous.
Wonderful.
I would much rather talk about things that get you stoked up. Whether it's MMA and training jiu-jitsu and you're loving it and you're loving what it's doing for your body and how it makes you feel more confident in your daily life and how it makes you feel like you're teaching your kids something like Bully Proof from Gracie Games, or if it's you learning a musical instrument and you're slowly becoming a master at that instrument. Chris making his drums from scratch.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
All of that stuff. I would much rather talk about that than dwell on politics and stupid shit that we cannot control that will inundate us with idiocy.
It's ridiculousness, yeah.
I would much rather focus on stuff that just like right now. I am so fucking stoked. I feel like I just had 5-hour energy drinks, like five-hour energy drinks.
You're right. Yeah.
So CrossFit 2.2, the Evan Stock Band, Hard Drive MMA, any of that stuff. Rise Above Leathers. Oh my God. There's so many cool fucking things.
We are very, very lucky guys.
We're very blessed.
Yep.
To even have met these people, to have them in our lives in any way, shape, or form. And if you want to count yourself among those lucky people, those lucky few, contact one of these people. Contact one of these organizations, because these are people, whether it's a musician or it's a personal trainer or it's a MMA coach or it's somebody who makes really fucking cool leather work that you can be reminded of your childhood, of your grandparents, of your parents with Chuck Kavanaugh. If you want to have anything really fucking cool like that, contact any of the people we talk about.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Google them. They're
Google
there.
them. I'll have links to each and every one of them on our podcast, on our website, and on YouTube.
All right. Hey, if you want to get a hold of us, make sure you go to theprimalscream.org. When you're on there, get on Facebook and like us. While you're there, make sure you get on Stitcher and iTunes to make sure you subscribe to us. Also, we're on Pinterest, and follow us on Twitter. We probably do a lot of work on Twitter. I am not on Facebook for Primal Scream very much. I'm trying to get better in the habit, but definitely on Twitter. We try to post a lot of different things we think are cool and things that are coming up or podcasts that are posted, so follow us on Twitter as well. But again, fantastic podcast. Please follow us. Join the New Zealand group and start following us with your downloads.
Oh, they're so sexy, those fucking Kiwis.
Those Kiwis. God. Oh, the Kiwis and those Japanese, just wonderful. I love them.
What the fuck? The Japanese. Oh,
From Japan.
oh, you're talking about the other group that really like us. Okay, I was
the
like,
Kiwis and the Japanese are downloads. I mean, they're a cute little group, the Kiwis and the Japanese, because they're only like 10 or 12 people who follow us.
This is my
That's
fantasy.
awesome.
This is what I want to think about. This is how I want to view some of our followers. That they are really like the Japanese group of people that religiously download our podcast.
Right.
Obviously they like them.
Yeah.
Because they've downloaded every one of them. I like to think that they're these pretty porcelain Asian goddesses.
Large-breasted.
They don't have to be large-breasted.
No. Thick labia. No.
Why are you going the sexual route?
I think of anime. Sorry. I've seen too much porn recently.
Too
probably.
much anime?
Yeah.
Are you watching a lot of anime?
No,
porn?
I see it on RedTube. I see a lot of anime porn on RedTube. So,
all right. Well, hey, thank you very much for joining us on the Primal Scream tonight. I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And we'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night.